We have a group of people in this country that I refer to as the Fox News or CPAC conservative. It's a person who never really understood anything about the abecedarian elemental backgrounds, the historic precursors to American history. They are flag wavers. They're good people. They know something about, they think that the flag is it. They never talk about the Constitution, but they talk about the flag. They talk reverentially about the Ronald Reagan and, whatever. They're very loyal. They vote religiously. They're beautiful people, wonderful people, but they don't know anything about a lot. Geography, one of the biggest problems they have. But there's this concept that they have. And it's a combination of sometimes socialist. Socialist is like the benign, kind of a malignant Bernie Sanders type. They'll say socialist. Commie, communism. They kind of sort of know what that's like. But when they're really feeling highfalutin, they'll say Marxist. And they'll say Kamala is a Marxist. He's a commie. Socialist. Now, when I was in high school, I might have been, I don't know, but my generation may have been the last to ever have this mandated class called civics. We called it Problems with American Democracy. It was like almost mandated. There's a PAD we had. And it was always taught invariably by the coach. Some football coach always taught world history as you did asphalt drills. It was a strange combination. And I have spent years independently studying as an autodidact, independently studying the notion of what Marxism is. This idea, this dialectical frames of reference, praxis versus history. This notion of production, proletariat, the bourgeoisie, these planned economies and class, notion of class systems and how there are so many aspects of Marxian ideology that are worthy of reflection, and you can review them, and but because we're still feeling the hangover of this post, I guess you'd call it this, this Russophobic Cold War, the same thing that gave rise to this anti-Putin, Russian lunacy. We just don't want to know anything about it because Americans collectively believe that when something is bad, when an economic program is bad, if it inspires or produces or exacerbates inflation versus fellation, it's communist, it's Marxist. It's just Marxist. And of all things, for some reason, when Kamala came up with this ridiculous economic plan that nobody, including Marxists, including Marxian economists and others, listened to and said, this is bizarre. Everybody rejected it. It was referred to and it was accepted and called Marxist or Marxian by people who have no idea. Carl from Groucho, Richard Marx, they have no idea. X marks the spot. They have no idea. It means something. They think it means totalitarian, fascistic. It's the people who get fascism and about communism and Nazism confused, even though it's a National Socialist. I mean, they know nothing. Marxist is this word that people refer to whenever they don't know what to call something that they are hearing about is a kind of a liberal, it's really a welfare class, welfare society type of system. Years ago when I was growing up in Florida, not Florida, but Florida, very southern. I don't want to say redneck, but there were some redneck parts to it. And I remember one time there was somebody, a friend of the family or relative, I don't know, somebody said, listen, you boys are going to that carnival. And I want you to remember one thing. We had, always this wise man who was a laborer, a good man who worked, always smelled of kerosene. He had a maroon rag, in the back of his pocket. And wore like railroad bib overalls. Seriously, I've known these people. And he would say, I want you boys to know one thing. You're going to that carnival. But there's one thing you better be careful about, and you better make sure you never find yourself meeting by yourself. Well, what's that, Mr. Thibodeau? Morphidites. I said, what? Morphidites. You go there and they have these morphidites. Whoa, wait. Morphidite? You mean hermaphrodites? No, morphidites. And that was his or their word for generic sexual predators that you fill in the, just use your imagination, whatever horror that whatever paraphilic, type of predation that you can imagine, they do it. Morphidites. Well, Marxists today are the morphidites of people who have not the slightest idea of what it even means. They couldn't even explain to you socialism. And again, I said, do you remember anything of Kamala suggesting the seizing of private property? Any form of revolution? Was revolution some desire to abolish capitalism? Do you think the Silicon Valley people and Wall Street and the billionaire hedge fund class are into destroying capitalism? Do you think that production should be part of a collective? What are you talking about? The dialectics, no idea. No idea. And somebody will say, see? And they point to a cover of the New York Post that says communism. And the New York Post, as you know, has always been known for their pithy covers. And, was it man loses head or topless man found in bottomless bar. Anyway, topless, headless man found in topless bar. Remember that classic one. So they love any kind of play on words, any pithy, punny, paranomasiac version of something. They love that. She's nowhere near anything even remotely looking at socialism. We who are talking about don't take our social security away, that's socialism. We don't have any problem with public schools and fire departments and police and garbage and picking up and roads and certain social safety nets, and well, that's different. I earned that. Okay, fine, whatever you want. People don't look at it. People think somehow that they're getting a dollar for dollar return on their investment when it comes to entitlement programs and the like. We really need to sit back and say, no, there is a welfare kind of economy, a welfare state where basically says, here, we're just going to give this to you. And other people will invariably make money either shorting industries or what have you. If you think that the connection that governments have, the shadow government has with pharmaceutical industries or big agra, if you think that's part of some kind of a communist, Marxist interconnection, you simply don't know anything about it. So say what you want. I'm with you. I think her plan was ridiculous. Nobody gives it any credence whatsoever. But it is not Marxist. It is not socialist. It's just not. It's one of those things. It's not. It's like we love the word treason. There has probably never been a case of true treason, maybe in the history of this country. There's espionage. And then when it came to the J6 case, I was saying, this might be seditious conspiracy because I read the statute. You go, oh, that's not sedition. No, read the statute. So we use these terms without any understanding of the fact that they mean something. They're not morphodized. They're not this collective kind of an amorphous label that you give some horrible structure, some intellectual or economic stricture of a structure. And when you don't know what to call it, you just call it Marxism. It's not Marxism. We should study what Marxism is so you can find out what it's not. That's all. Now you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and whatever you do, in the name of God. I beg, beseech, and importune you to comment as you see fit.